Well, we're now joined by the new Member of Parliament for the Ontario riding of Mississauga-Lakeshore, Charles Sousa. Mr. Sousa, congratulations. Good to see you again.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be with you and to discuss the win, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Now, there was some speculation that this by-election would have been a bit more of a nail-biter, the first since Pierre Poilievre was elected the Conservative leader. How do you think his leadership factored in, if at all, into the results yesterday?
You know, it's a great question. I mean, I ran on a very positive campaign. We wanted to be there to respond and listen to the issues and the concerns that people had. And I found that the opponent, in this case, was mainly Pierre Poilievre. All they ran on was the fact that Charles Sousa was running and Justin Trudeau was the prime minister, and nothing more about what it is that they are planning to do. And I think it resonated with the people, at least those that I spoke to, saying they don't want gimmicks or reckless policies or division or fear. They really want people to provide some solutions and to provide real supports to real problems.
Well, let's pick up on that point and also acknowledge the fact, of course, the analysis is coming here from the Liberal member who was elected last night. But, you know, Pierre Poilievre has been very consistent in his messaging that life has become unaffordable. And while the federal government it does tout its programs like the GST rebates, the rental support, dental programs, Mr. Poilievre points out that those programs are targeted. They don't really help out many people in the middle class. Are those concerns not of concern to you? Are those concerns not echoed when you're out there campaigning?
The community that I live in is very much middle class. There's some affluence in the community, and so I having been in the private sector for many years prior to politics, and most recently in these last 4 years, I know what it's like to make payroll. I know what it's like to live in regards to supporting the family. Mr. Poilievre speaks as though he has some context of the issue, but he's always been a politician. He's always lived life through the gatekeepers that he keeps complaining about. What I'm saying and what I've noted is that people want to ensure that the economy grows, that we have sustainable programs that support the sustainable economy that support those programs. And they want someone that's be able to legitimately provide solutions. He hasn't offered any solutions whatsoever. And I think people come to recognize that these policies are reckless and we need something more serious and some policies that are more directed to growing the economy, protecting the environment, and protecting those programs that people care about.
Well, you say that, and of course, the big program people are talking about right now is healthcare. And while that is a provincial responsibility, Ottawa does have a role in it. There is right now, right across the country, a lack of primary doctors, overwhelmed hospitals, of course, also in Ontario. And if the pandemic showed us anything, it's the fact that the system operates on thin margins. So I'm wondering, you being a former finance minister, how should Ottawa, and by that the government you're now about to join, how should Ottawa be responding to the healthcare crisis right now?
You know, I myself, as a volunteer, I started a foundation to build a long-term care home and affordable housing complex, 350 units. So I understand specifically and very well the challenges faced by some of these institutions to provide home care, as seniors care, and acute care. And one of the things that I've come to realize is that we need talent, we need personnel, we need docs and nurses and PSWs, we need to attract them. So we need to make sure that the funds that are transferred to the provinces are being utilized effectively for the front line, to ensure that we transform the way we provide services so that people can get what they need. And that includes surgeries and elective surgeries. But one of the things I find confusing is the notion of accountability. And certainly when I was in the province, I was trying to provide greater transfers from the federal government to support these needs. And I was prepared to take accountability measures to enact them, because over the last 2-3 years during the pandemic, a lot of money was funded to the provinces and they weren't utilized appropriately. And I think the federal government, and for that matter, the constituents, the people that are voting, the taxpayer, they want to make certain that the levels of governments stand united, work towards the ultimate goal, which is to provide the services. And for that, they want accountability.
They want accountability, but, you know, people are at the same time just wondering who's going to break this impasse, this logjam. What should Ottawa be doing to that favor, to that purpose, rather? We've heard them mention accountability from the provinces. We're still at this standstill. How do you break that logjam?
Well, listen, I mean, I was just elected last night, but I do have a sense of what I would prefer to see as a constituent, as an individual, as a person who has a family of 3 kids and seniors at home. I mean, we want to make certain that whatever taxpayer dollars are utilized and are paid, we want to make sure we get value for them. We don't care if it's municipal, provincial, or federal. All we care about is making certain that those tax dollars are employed properly. What we're dealing here is jurisdictional issues. And we got to make certain that the provinces and the federal government stay strong in ultimately providing the services that are necessary. And that requires the provinces to ensure that those funds are used appropriately. I was prepared to take accountability measures when I was asking for more transfer funds from the federal government at the time.
Okay, and that brings up my last question to you. Even though I'm running out of time, I want to ask it. You did sit in cabinet provincially for Ontario. Are you expecting a cabinet portfolio now that you're coming to Ottawa?
I'm just excited and pleased that I've been elected and to be a voice for the community of Mississauga-Lakeshore. I mean, these folks.
You'd like to be a cabinet minister.
I am not going to speculate other than serve my constituents well, and that was the goal, and I'm very pleased to have that opportunity.
Okay, well, Mr. Sousa, thank you very much for the time. We're watching. Best of luck to you.
All the best. Thank you.